Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club, and it is finally time to finish this thing, the Quest Terrier-Orion build I've been working on for a while now. There are a couple last decals to do. I need to put two down here, and I need to put some little decorative ones up in the silver part. I'm going to do the silver part first because I've been working down here more recently. This should be pretty well dried. Fingers crossed, one would hope. So again, these are water slides. They need to be in the water to loosen up, and then once they are loose, then on they go. Now these little rectangular bits, they're supposed to go up here, and it looks like they're supposed to be staggered. There are 4 of them, so let's hope they're supposed to be staggered just short of the top. Let's give that a go. That's obviously not straight. That's fine. That's the glory of the water slide decal. You can adjust it as long as it is wet. Helps if your hands are wet too. That looks pretty good. So this I'm just going to blot rather than try to smooth out because it's pretty smooth one way or the other, I think. That looks fine. Okay, so there are 4 of them, so I'm just going to rotate the tube and keep applying. Of course, then there's this side. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll only put 3 of them on. We don't need to put all 4. I think, honestly, putting the 4th rectangle on in that blank spot is just going to kind of accentuate the fact that it's wrong. So maybe we won't do that. I could certainly put it down in the bottom. That could be fun. That's not the world's worst idea. Maybe we'll do that. Alright, that's good. Toss the next one in. And this guy, and it's just going up at the top, and then a line. I'm going to check to make sure that I have it roughly. Ooh, it doesn't look right. I want to make sure it's straight. It doesn't look super straight. Let's bring this down a little bit. Now it's better. Alright, anyway, going back to this guy, that one actually looked pretty straight from the get-go. But let's just make sure. I did want to... Ooh. I believe I bumped the top one up here a little bit. I'm going to have to smooth that out. That's annoying. Oopsies. There we go. Yeah, it's slightly, looks like it's slightly deformed. That's annoying. Anyway, looks better. I rotated this initially so I make sure that they were approximately the same height. But then it looked to me like wasn't quite aligned either. Alright, this one is much too low, so let's bring that up a little bit. That should be pretty good once I get it straightened out. Alright, we'll call that pretty good. Again, blotting. And then I'm going to rotate it this way. Needs to come up quite a bit as well. Let's just check this alignment. It's not straight, but that looks much better now. Alright, we'll go with that. Alright, now down at the bottom, I have some of these not long enough stripes that need to be applied. This one, it needs to go above the fins right here. And yeah, this one's going to be harder to manage. I'm going to rotate it so that I can see where the gap in the top begins and try to align it that way. Oh, it's coming off already. Lovely. I'm not going to toss the next one in just quite yet because I got a feeling this might take a decent amount of time. Alright, that looks actually pretty good with regard to where the line starts, and then I'm just going to slowly rotate and let the decal drop off. I'll load up the next one here while I'm working on this. Kind of shift it back a little bit. Overall, it looks pretty good. We'll smooth it out. I do have some bubbles in this one. They're fairly significant, so I'm going to get my finger a little bit wet. Remember, if you have trouble with this, it's a water slide decal, so long as it's wet, it will slide, and if you need it to slide and it is not really cooperating, then try getting it wet. Or wetter, anyway. Alright, that is so frustrating, but it's as good as it's going to get, and oh, my decal completely came off. A little premature. This one's probably going to be the nastiest of the lot because I kind of have to weave it through here. Although, yeah, instructions, the picture on the box shows it, it's basically like right under the fins. So this one is not going to be terribly easy. Especially, it didn't help that the backing came off before I wanted it to. Well, that's going to have to happen, I guess. There we go, mostly done. Oh, I can see it's tearing. This is going to be... yeah, it's tearing. Alright, first of all, I'm going to get my finger wet just in case. Maybe I can just push it off. Alright, I'm going to get my hobby blade here and just try to get underneath it. Lift. It's stuck to the fin for some reason. Alright. Now that is definitely torn. So this is going to be fragile. Oh, well, that's just lovely. Part of the problem here is that it released from where I started it. Alright, and I have completely torn it now, which is unfortunate, but we'll make do. Alright, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to just kind of slide this and kind of like inchworm it back to where it ought to be. Like so. Alright, that's not that bad. Because I know this is torn already, and I just basically, part of inchworming it that way should have gotten rid of any particularly bad air bubbles in it. I'm not going to worry too much. The tear is right there because it wasn't lined up quite right. But that is good enough. You know what? That is fine. This is as good as the decal work on this is going to get. I can live with that. Alright, so this I'm just going to put out of the way for a moment. This last one, the last squarey rectangle thing, I think what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to put it on the bottom here, opposite to the one in the United States. It's not the right size, but it's okay. It seems like a decent use of the last decal. And just so I know what I'm doing, it should start right at the base of the fins. there. Check my alignment. It should be, it doesn't look straight, so that's a problem. That looks pretty good. Alright. Blotting any excess water. Good. Alright, this is going to get out of the way. I'm going to quickly dry here in case there's anything that doesn't belong. Alright. Now, the remaining bits of work is basically all I need to do is attach the top part to the bottom part, which is not as easy as one might think. So I need to thread all the shock cord work through. I'm going to stand up to do this. Unfortunately, some of it's probably not going to be visible. I'm going to take the shock cord, push it through, and it's probably going to end up getting snagged on the way. Maybe it won't. It'd be great if it didn't, but I think it's probably going to end up like bunching together somewhere near the end. But you know, okay, yeah. So it's not. Oh, it's right at the end. Hey, that's great. So I'm going to pull the rest of the shock cord out and thread it through. Now I want to roll this over. Okay, just coincidentally, I happen to have the yellow fins right where they're supposed to be. They line up. So that's good. I need to attach these. And I need to attach them not only so that the yellow fins align, but so that all the fins are directly in line with each other. Again, this is paper to plastic. So typically I would use CA glue, but this is not the place for it. I need to do some last minute like nudging to make sure that everything is lined up. So I'm going to go with cement. I don't have the blue stuff anymore, so I'm going to use a slightly different shade of it here. And this is going to be minorly annoying because I've already got things in the way. Now, I will say that I have sanded this and this somewhat extensively, and I already test fit it to make sure this is going to fit, which would be a fairly essential little bit of work to do ahead of time. Because if you have everything all set and you have the glue in place and you try to test fit it and boy it doesn't work, that is a problem. Yeah. I don't know if this tube is like empty or what the deal is. There it goes, it's starting to come out. So I'm just going to spin this around. I know I got some on the shock cord, which is annoying, but I guess worse things could happen. Alright, so that's plenty of that. Again, I want to make sure that the yellow fins are in the same spot, which they are again, even though I rotated it. And now it's time to carefully, because remember those black decals are still probably wet, so I really don't want to touch them. Alright, this together. And, okay, now, critical part too. The fins, I'm sure, are not aligned in any way, shape, or form. So, I am going to just peer down the barrel, and I'm going to rotate the top until they line up. And right now I'm just looking at the yellow ones. But, you know, in theory, if one set lines up, the others should as well. So I'm just going to rotate through to make sure that is indeed the case. Alright, I am very pleased with that. The alignment is pretty good. Alright, now, last but not least, we got to deal with the nose cone. Here's the nose cone. It's silver instead of gold, but whatever. I'm sure that's not really a large problem. Two things need to happen. One is I'm going to get my parachute ready, but I'm not going to do that just quite yet. The other thing is I'm going to tie shock cord through. Now, I just want to show you. This is somewhat alarming to me as well. This is how much shock cord I have. It's optimistically a foot. I don't care for that. That seems to be way less than I should have. But it's how much I have. And there's not much we can do about that. So I guess it's just going to have to make do. So I'm going to tie my knot, and I'm going to do my best here to keep the amount of excess thread to a minimum, since we don't have much to work with to begin with. So I'm going to tie 3 knots in here. That should be plenty. You could, if you wanted to, put a bead of glue on this just to make sure that it is as durable as it's likely to get. I have my barrel swivel here, so I'm going to unclasp it. Thank you. Push it through. Reclasp. And that's it. That is the end. There is one more step I'm going to do. I'm not going to bother to show it, and that is to clear coat. Now, I gotta say, in saying that, it scares me half to death to clear coat this, because I have bad track record using clear coat on metallic paint. Now, you can definitely test, spray paint some paper or something with your metallic paint, and then do the clear coat over top of it just to see what happens. I've used this stuff before in combination, so it'll probably be okay. But clear coat is really a good idea when you have water-side decals, because as I demonstrated by tearing one, they are very thin. They are very susceptible to tearing. You don't want that. So a clear coat is a good idea if you feel brave enough to do it. Otherwise, the construction is done. Everything is good to go. This is ready to fly, more or less. Alright, so thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next construction series. Thanks again.